Hello everyone, my name is Owen Salinas and my partner's name is Mia Lopez, and our presentation is about these small marine invertebrates called Kinorhyncha. This slide is just an outline of the different things that we're going to talk about in this presentation, such as name origin, taxonomy, habitat, etc. First, let's start with the name origin. So the name Kinorhyncha has a Greek origin. The first part of the name kineo means to move, and rhynchos means snout. When you put them together, it refers to the characteristic retractable head, which is used. They use it for eating, and it also helps them move around. And they do it in a similar way to the picture that is shown there. So these animals belong to the kingdom Animalia, and they're part of the Protostomia clade. It also belongs to the superphylum Ecdysozoa, and its phylum name is Kinorhyncha. And their common name is the mud dragons. So some characteristics that the mud dragons have, they possess bilateral symmetry. They are triploblastic, and so they have those three ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm layers. They are also pseudocoelomates, meaning that they possess a body cavity, but it doesn't line up with the mesoderm layer. They have no circulatory system, so all their nutrients move through their body by using diffusion. And there's pseudocoelom, which is a fluid-filled cavity that provides space for organs and helps move nutrients throughout the body. The mud dragons also, they don't have lungs or gills, so instead they use diffusion to move oxygen and carbon dioxide across their body. And because they're so small, they're less than 1 millimeter in length, this lets oxygen diffuse directly into their cells. They are segmented animals with a total of 13 segments, and there are over 270 species of them so far. So their body structures. The mud dragons, they possess an outer body layer called cuticle, which forms their body wall. This is similar to the cuticle layer we see in nematodes and arthropods. The mud dragons, they molt this cuticle layer, and it helps them grow during their juvenile stage, and during their adult stage they molt but not to grow. Instead, they do it to renew and repair their cuticle. Their body is separated into three regions, which would be the head, the neck, and their segmented trunk. The head is its most recognizable part, since it has the ability to retract, and it can be either for movement or to eat. The head is surrounded by these spines called scalets, which they use to collect their food and pull it to their mouth. The next part would be the neck, which just separates the head from the rest of the body, pretty much. Then the trunk is composed of 11 segments or zonites, and if we include the head and the neck, then it would total to 13 segments. They also have a complete gut composed of mouth, pharynx, intestine, and an anus that is located at the posterior end of the animal. The mud dragon's digestive system is divided into three regions. First, it's the foregut, which is lined with cuticle, and it contains the mouth, a sucking pharynx, and a short esophagus. Here you would usually find the whole head region of it. Then we have the midgut, which starts after the esophagus, and it is lined with absorptive microvillus gastrodermis, and it is enclosed by circular and longitudinal muscles. This is the main digestive and absorptive region. And then lastly, towards the posterior end of the animal, we can find the hindgut, which is also a cuticle line area, and it leads to the anus for waste removal. So their nutrition. Mud dragons mainly eat diatoms, which are just microscopic algae, and they also eat organic particles from decayed plants and microorganisms. They collect food using their retractable head and the scalets around its mouth. And once the food is inside, then the muscular pharynx is used to move the food particles into the gut for digestion.
Nervous system. The nervous system of Kinorhynchs is relatively simple. They have a ring around their pharynx, which is here highlighted in red, known as the nerve ring. Around the nerve ring, there's a series of 10 ganglia connected to it. Each ganglia has a corresponding nerve cord, and 8 of those nerve cords are also found in most species. They also possess bristles, which act as sensory receptors, along with eye spots near the nerve ring, which are here pointed out in red. Habitat. Kinorhynchs are mostly marine animals, but they'll live anywhere where water is found, like in mud, sandy beaches, and sediment. Usually they live at a depth of 6,000 meters or 1,900 feet. There isn't a specific climate that they prefer or thrive in, and their usual living conditions range from polar to tropical environments. Reproduction. Kinorhynchs reproduce sexually. The male and the female have to position themselves so that their ventral posterior ends face each other, and then the male fertilizes the egg. The female then lays 6 to 8 eggs at a time. The eggs are then deposited into the sand or sediment, and a solid protective covering forms around each egg. About 10 days later, the eggs hatch, and the Kinorhynchs are born as juveniles with only 11 segments of their body. Life cycle. When Kinorhynchs hatch, they're born as juveniles and possess 11 of their 13 segments. This is referred to as the first cycle. During these cycles, they usually eat bacteria, diatoms, and waste material found in the sediment or sand. However, some later go on to become carnivorous once they're fully matured. They go through 5 to 6 cycles of growing and molting their exoskeletons, which is here, this is the exoskeleton, and then this is the actual Kinorhynch. Once fully matured, the last 2 segments of their body develop, as well as scallods on the top of their head. Ecosystem roles and how they're relevant to us. So because Kinorhynchs live and move through sand and sediment, they help mix those sediment layers, which is known as bioturbation, and it helps with oxygen penetration and nutrient cycling. They can also be used as bioindicators to determine the sediment quality, since they tend to be sensitive to it. They also eat microorganisms like algae or bacteria, which help organic matter decompose, and it contributes to nutrient recycling. Along with the fact that they serve as prey for other animals such as flatworms, it makes them an important part of the food chain, especially the marine food chain.
And then the test question would be, what do Kinorhynchs use to collect their food? A. Tentacles, B. Scalets, C. Parapodia, or D. Cilia. And the correct answer for that would be their scalets.
So the test question is, during their life cycle, Kinorhynchs are A. born fully developed with all segments and scalets, B. they hatch as juveniles with 11 segments and go through molting cycles, C. they remain in a larval stage their entire lives, or D. they begin as adults and regress to juveniles over time. And the correct answer is B. They hatch as juveniles with 11 segments and go through molting stages. And here are our sources.